who previously served as the state's attorney general. Senator, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Great to be with you, Maria.
I want to get your take from a legal perspective. You were a practicing lawyer. You were on the state legislation then. Of course, you were the attorney general for the state before becoming senator. What is your take on the Supreme Court decision on immunity?
Well, it's a big win, not just for President Trump in that specific case, but I think for the Constitution and our rule of law. Most legal experts sort of predicted this would be the result. It's fully in line with where case law had been previously. But of course, the president has immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts. The founders were very well aware of this. They wrote about it in the Federalist Papers that you could have sort of these prosecutors or other folks sort of tying up the presidency, whether when the president is in office or out of office, for decisions that were made while the individual was president. And so it's the right call here. But I think if you kind of peel the onion back here a little bit, Maria, the truth is the reason why the Democrats are showing such faux outrage here is they want to undermine the legitimacy of the Supreme Court so they can pack the court. That's what you need to know about this is the immediate, again, outrage here is all about them gaining complete power and control. So if they get a shot at this, if they control the House and the Senate and the White House, they will end the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court and add at least 4 justices. And so if there's no limiting principle. Once you go down that road, Maria, why not 25? Why not 50? So we're all of a sudden in banana republic territory. So the case was rightly decided, and the Democrats' outrage here is just all about trying to gain more or political leverage.
Wow, that is just stunning. And now you've got House Democrats proposing a constitutional amendment to try to reverse the Supreme Court immunity decision. Tell us how you believe this decision will impact all of these cases that President Trump is still facing.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you put this case in its context here, Joe Biden is directly responsible for all of this stuff. In November of 2022, he gave a speech after the midterm elections and said he was going to use all legal means necessary to keep President Trump out of the White House. And then guess what happened? All these zombie cases came back from the dead, including Jack Smith's case, including the Atlanta case, including Alvin Bragg's case. All of them sort of followed the orders of Joe Biden. The key members of the Justice Department left to go to that New York prosecution. And so the underlying issue here in many cases in this immunity is one of the results is, take the New York case, for example. You can't use official communications from the president when he's in office as to sort of buttress your legal case. So in addition to that New York case being riddled with reversible error, like not having to actually agree on the crime, which is insane, now they're going to have real issues because they tried to introduce and did introduce into evidence official communications, which now would be presumably excluded. So all of these, these sandcastles that were built on sand are going to come crumbling down. All of this was about political persecution. It was about election interference. They thought they could bury Trump. They were wrong because they're all falling apart now, and President Trump is surging in the polls. And in many ways, the American people see this for what it is. It's no longer an election about 2 individuals. This is about a cause. It's about, fortifying our republic. We don't want to see us devolve into a banana republic where you see a president try to throw his political enemy and opponent in jail for the rest of his life, which is exactly what they're trying to do.
Well, that's just incredible. So you're saying that all of these attacks, these indictments against President Trump were coordinated and started with the White House after that November 2022 speech that you referred to from President Biden. Do you have evidence that there was, in fact, coordination between these prosecutors taking the accused from the White House? Can you prove that?
Oh, there were visits to the White House. Members of the legal team in almost all of these cases coordinated with Biden officials. You saw, again, a key member of the number 2 person at DOJ left to join the prosecution, Alvin Bragg's prosecution team. This is sort of the worst kept secret in Washington, I suppose. This was their idea, that they thought Trump was such a threat to democracy, they want to destroy democracy. And the truth is, when President Trump was in office, he didn't do any of this stuff. But now you have Joe Biden, when he's been in the office, what has he done? He's censored Americans. He's brought these political prosecutions against his political opponents, and he's ushered in an invasion of this country of 10 million plus people who they want to turn into voters. That is the real threat to democracy.
That is just incredible. All of it is just all of it. But let me ask you about this, because you say the worst kept secret. Another really badly kept secret was Joe Biden's mental capacity. Okay, we've been talking about this for 2 years now, having on leading doctors who have obviously discussed what they see in plain sight. What do you think happens here? Do you think they're going to take Joe out, or does he stick it out, and is he the nominee in November?
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the people who have a lot of power by Joe Biden being in office in this sort of shadow government, they're not going to let him resign. And by the way, if he decides not to be a candidate, he certainly isn't capable of being president. They're going to have to deal with that issue, which is another reason why I don't think he's going anywhere. Kamala Harris polls even worse than Joe Biden. Her unfavorables nearing 60%. And wait till they dig into her record as the so-called border czar. Wait till they dig into her record on the Green New Deal. Wait till they dig into their record on her soft on crime policies and supporting defund the police. So they're not really going anywhere. But in any other time, Maria, this would be a scandal. The media has helped cover this story up for years. And why did they do it? Because they thought Joe Biden was going to beat President Trump. They thought they could bury President Trump. And now when it looks like President Trump is actually going to win this race, which I believe he will, and been saying it for a while, they've turned on Joe Biden. And so it's really fascinating to see the very people who were asking Joe Biden what kind of ice cream he likes for 3.5 years suddenly are shocked by his lack of coherency that everyone saw on that debate stage that night, and no one can unsee that, which is the problem they're dealing with.
Yeah, and the cover-up has been stunning by the media, Senator. We're talking about that next for sure. Great to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.
Good to see you, Maria.
All right, Senator Eric Schmitt joining us this morning in Missouri. Quick break, and then suddenly